morning.
Good morning. Monday.
Ooh, there we go.
Are we going?
I think we're going.
We're live. Good morning, y'all.
Check the sound,
Check,
everybody.
check. Pardon the sleepy voice and the sleepy face and sleepy eyes. I woke up about 2 minutes ago.
I woke up much earlier than that
You did.
to set all this up.
Beautiful voices. Yay!
Yay! You can hear us.
How does it look? We have a new setup today. We're using our
New.
camera.
Set up. Hopefully it looks okay.
Last time we didn't realize that it looked so bad. I mean, I saw that it looked bad, but I assumed that it was just because my feed was bad, which is a silly thing to assume.
Well, yeah, maybe people can answer that question. Hold on, let me pop this chat out. Was last time like crazy, grainy and hard to see? If anybody was here from last time?
Yeah, we saw Tara Simon had dinner live that same week, and
It was kind of strange.
kind of strange. Well, that's probably just me.
You're just kind of strange.
I'm kind of strange.
This. Okay. Think.
Thoughts,
All right. What do you
everyone.
think? Thoughts, everyone?
Oh, I'm so
Aw.
tired. I'm so tired.
She might be getting sick.
I
We
think I have a
don't
cold.
know. I have the
I'm
cold.
here for you.
And then Gabe, our son, had a cold, and now it might be Malia's turn to have a
Boiling
cold.
with that sweater. We live in a basement. Yes, it is summertime. Let's see the weather. We live in a basement. It is summertime, but it's only 60 degrees, so it's not like hot. It's also like 6 in the morning, so it's like chilly again too. But
Somebody says it's not quite clear. So yeah, sorry if there's any video or audio issues. Let us know if there's
Getting
anything that's too bad. But we need better internet, I think, is ultimately
number one.
the thing for live streaming. So that's okay. We are just happy to be with you guys here this morning. Good morning. Yep, and we're just happy to see everybody.
And
Awesome.
I'm happy to be awake.
And you're happy to be awake.
Yeah, so we wanted to come and talk about a little bit that our BTS video got blocked, and that's sad.
Yeah.
And so our plan, as many of you have requested, which is perfectly wonderfully fine, is to just blur out video.
Yeah, and I actually haven't asked how easy of a process is
I
that.
think it's pretty easy. So we could hopefully have it. And if it happens before then,
Yeah.
then you guys will be super excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have the go ahead with the audio because Sony and BTS are lovely and they want us to react to them. But MTV is not so lovely. They don't want us to react to that video. They would like to own all of their content.
And all.
And I'm fine if they just unmonetized it. They should just
That's fine.
unmonetize it.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
block
fine
it.
too. Block
Don't
it.
block it. So we're gonna probably just remove the video portion. Like I'll put some dancing chickens or something, so it won't be distracting. Wouldn't that be funny if I put like
That
a
would be
video?
like a video
What if I
on
did a
top of the
different
video.
BTS video? It'd be hilarious. You guys would be.
I-
You would know.
I vote the yodeling chicken.
So
Okay.
I also think it's funny because I know that the BTS army is good enough to know which exact performance it was by all of the things that happen, like the clothes that they're wearing, things like that. And so when I was putting up the blocked notification,
Yeah.
I wanted to blur out the video thumbnail because I was like, oh, you're going to know which video it is. I was going to keep a secret. And then she was just like, just tell them because then they'll be mad with us.
They'll be
So-
upset with us.
So you guys are mad with
So
us that it's
we're
blocked.
sad, we were not disappointed.
So I don't think it'll take long. I think as soon as I block out the video, it should automatically say, oh, this is good and great.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just excited to come on this morning. We're trying to do this every Monday
Yeah.
at 6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, at least until daylight savings happens over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we.
That's another thing too. You can react to it through the other. There is another another channel that posts those videos.
Uh,
I think it's a Korean channel. But
Bangtan?
yeah, don't see.
Bangtan?
Bangtan.
Bangtan? Yeah, that's how you say it. Sounds right.
Yes, sounds perfect. Anyway, what were you saying?
What's going on? What's going on? Awesome. Look at all these people in here. Okay, so yeah, last time people asked us questions about the voice and about singing, and that was fun. So if you have any questions about singing and the voice, we would love to answer them.
So we don't have it set up to react live yet because we don't have. I don't know how people input. We don't have it. What is it? A dot?
Oh, no, the streaming software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're
hey,
very new to streaming. Hey, Kate.
Keed.
Keed. Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think that's where we landed.
Dang it. Let's take down some music stuff.
What does that mean?
I don't
Down
know.
some music stuff.
I don't know what that means.
It got retracted, so take it
Okay.
back.
All right. Hello. Hi. Good
Hello.
morning.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk a little bit about what we were doing this weekend because I know you guys want to hear about that. So we both just got new jobs, which is wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And so we've been very busy with music, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And one of the things we used to lead worship at our church before the pandemic. And if you guys know how that went, churches shut down a lot across America. Just because of the gathering sizes. So when that happened, we were making videos like we always do online. And so we would do worship videos online. And so we haven't led in-person worship in over a year. So yesterday was the first time, from Morocco, that's cool. Yeah.
Indonesia.
Wow.
Perth. Wow.
Yeah, yesterday was the first time that we sang in front of an audience of any kind. Since COVID started, which was really awesome.
Yeah,
It was really
the first
fun.
time, doing live music
Yeah.
in front of people for like a year and a half.
For a year and a half, ever since March of 2020.
Yeah, and so that was really
cool.
Wonderful.
So we still got it.
Yeah, and we still got it. It was really wonderful to, I didn't even know I could play
Guitar
music,
anymore.
I mean, I knew I could play guitar,
Yeah.
but play and sing and do a whole set of songs. I've been playing a lot of over the pandemic. I've been playing a lot of electric, and for those of you who don't know, acoustics strings are harder to play.
They are much harder.
And so my fingers were dying by the end of it.
I wonder if we could react to TikToks. But I can't show them to you, so it seems not fun. Don't do it? Okay, I won't do it then.
Don't do the thing. Let's say the thing you can't do.
Well, but I was saying YouTube videos. I felt like TikTok.
No, that makes sense. All right. Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Good morning.
Perth.
From us.
Where's Perth?
In Australia.
Australia, right? Okay, that's what I thought. I knew that. I watched Sarah's Day. She's a famous YouTuber.
Famous.
We're besties. It's not true.
No.
I feel like we are, but Morocco. Okay, so when we lived in Germany, that was my dream to go to Morocco because you could get there relatively simply. There was a flight that went there from EasyJet, I think, or somebody like that. So it was really cheap. But we never made it, and so I wish.
Yep.
Chase told me that my hair looked good.
I liked it.
So
I look at this. I think it looks very
I
nice.
look like a bum.
You don't
It's okay.
look like a bum.
Hello. Maybe you could talk about your opinion on the concept. Ooh, thanks for a question.
Placement. And how is physical thyroid tilt are described fully metaphorically by the community?
Hoo, these are good questions. Even
Thank
just
you,
like a
Marios.
theoretical
Talk
question.
about nothing until just now. This is a great thing because we might actually have different answers. I don't know.
I think you should start with yours
All right, I'll
because I
start
think
with mine.
Chase's is going to have a little bit more of your laryngeal philosophy.
You know what? I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
think
here's
mine
my
will?
thing. I think that knowing these physiological terms like your larynx and your thyroarytenoid and your cricothyroid and all of these
Transverse abdominis.
your transverse abdominis and your
Audio is gone.
what?
What?
Oh no.
Did that happen on there? No card. Doesn't
No
matter.
card.
No more audio. Do you want to grab a card? Grab a card.
Yeah, that'd be great. Huh.
Does it need to be empty? Or does it just, because we're not going to.
It just needs to be in there. Is the audio gone?
So they said it was.
Audio?
Which one? 2 gig?
The smallest one.
Oh, yeah. I can do the 512. Do the 512. Yeah. It's probably empty too. I can take the 2 back. We're done.
The audio just stopped.
Just quit.
Quit. Audio is back, it says.
Oh, well, you just put it.
That's really
Oh.
strange. No, it wasn't this. I'm just wondering
There was a cable.
if this. Let's see this. Does this work? Is this working? Maybe it's
But no
fine.
video.
Okay. Audio and video are fine. All right.
Well, you
Well,
just got to see us run around. Wait, you want to put it here so I don't lose it.
Alright.
Anyway, we were talking about
Okay.
thyroarytenoid.
So all of those physiological terms are helpful to know, but it's not everything. Like when you learn how to run, how to walk, how to hike,
Right.
how to do anything physical,
Yeah.
you're not thinking, okay, I need, I play table tennis, so I need to, hit the ball at a certain thing, but I don't think, okay, I need to retract my bicep, to flip my wrist, I don't have time to think of all those things. And what else is that our bodies already know how to do that kind of stuff. Like if I just say, oh, I just need to move my arm like this, cool. Your body already knows how to do that. And then the same, in my opinion, in the opinion of our voice teacher, it's the same for singing. Our bodies already know how to do it. We know how to speak, we know how to talk, and singing and talking are functionally the same. To make noise out of here is the same. And so when we say that speaking is this, when I talk I sound like this, and when I sing I sound like this, is only getting in our way.
Right.
So that is my
philosophy.
on placement. But to get to placement, how it functions with placement is you have to just, when you're singing, a lot of people want to control, at least for me, it's a lot of people do this when they start to sing high. They start to go, ooh, and they go way back in the throat, and they, take the edge off of their singing. They're trying to pull back and hide this thing and like shield their voice. But if you just allow that sound to go wherever it's supposed to go, because your body knows, you'll have a much easier time. It'll probably sound better. Ultimately our philosophy is that singing and speaking, or at least my philosophy,
Mhm.
and I believe your philosophy, singing and speaking are the same. And really singing is just a bit more coordinated. It's the difference between walking and running. It might take a little bit more energy, but ultimately they're pretty similar.
So Mario's who had to ask the question. Also, Michael, you've been blocked. Anyway, Mario's, he said, but he still believes, or she, I'm so sorry, they still believe that metaphorical descriptions are necessary. And we would 100% agree. I think what Chase is trying to say is that, like, we don't think, just like he said, about the physiological, literal action that's happening while singing, but we use metaphors all the time, and I think it's the best and kind of only way to really describe singing, because we don't have buttons to push, we don't have strings.
Hands on our throat.
So while you're
change things
teaching
around.
singing, and while you're practicing singing yourself and learning and perform all these things, we think about airflow, and airflow is metaphorical because we don't really even see it.
Yeah.
Like, we know how to breathe and we know the mechanics of that, but in order to really help ourselves do better in it, we have to think of metaphors. So we use a lot of train metaphors, like your air is the train, the vowel is the train, blah, 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 blah. We do a lot of like energy exercises, which are kind of a metaphor in themselves because like you don't need to squat to sing, but it helps you because it's a physical representation of something that needs to happen, of where energy needs to come from and things like that. So I would agree. Somebody's saying our live stream has an echo, which I think is true.
Oh no.
So let's see.
Maybe we will,
If you want to check it,
let's take this out. We'll just have voice audio.
I don't know.
Huh.
You want to try? I mean, some people are okay, so
Yeah.
we'll try. I'm so sorry. We will get better.
We're
at
so
this.
sorry if it's not great. We will try again soon.
What is the rarest singing voice? That's a great question. I don't actually know.
I
the
think I
answer.
might know. I think basses might be more rare than tenors.
I think-
real deal basses
Basses, yeah.
are very rare.
Yeah.
It's I've only I think met 2 or 3
Like true
like
basses.
real basses in my whole life, and that's being a vocal person
Right.
who sings in lots of different choirs.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool.
And I'm not sure if that's like. I mean, I guess that would probably be a global thing too. I don't know. It's at least where we are.
I think it's some areas have more than others. Like
Others, yeah.
Russian choirs, I think we talked about this last time. But Russian choirs have really interesting, super low. I think they have contra basses and in some choirs too, and it's a wild thing to watch if you check it out.
Right. I think it's Shreya, just gave us what BTS means, which is awesome because I never knew. And she says that the name signifies the group's desire to block out stereotypes, criticisms, and expectations that aim on adolescents, like bullets.
Boy Scouts.
That's really cool. I knew you guys said that they have a lot of, I don't know how I explain that, but they care a lot about other things than music. Like they're also like role models and they represent something
Sure.
bigger. So
Yeah,
that's really, they're like good, like positivity and
Yeah.
that's like part of their goal. So I love that
That's
so
really
much. Request covering, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, we will, if you guys want to request videos, there's a few ways to do it, but we're thinking of doing like a lottery.
Yeah,
soon.
or like a poll.
Or
We
a
can
poll,
do
yeah.
polls on our channel,
Mhm.
and that might be fun too. But yeah.
How to find your mixed voice.
Ooh, I love these.
Yeah,
What, do you have one? I have one.
yeah, go for it.
All right. The first thing I would say is do slides. Go, oh, and figure out different ways of doing that. So one of my favorite ways is just to sit and experiment and have some fun with it. So I can go, okay, this time I'm gonna try to, stay in my chest voice for a really long time. That got a little bit mixy up there.
Yeah.
I'll try to stay in my head voice all the way down. And that time you couldn't even really tell there was a break in there. So slide around and experiment with how your voice works and how it feels to you. That's one of my favorite. I think that's a really underrated exercise to slide through the entire range of your voice and practice things like I'm just, speaking, relax, all the things going on here, add good air, all of that stuff. So, practice that kind of stuff while you're sliding through your entire range, and that's a wonderful way to really test the limits and get to know your voice a little better.
Yeah, I think that's what I would say too, the same kind of exercises. But for me, the mix is going to be different to every single person, which is why that exercise helps you. And I think finding first where your voice is the strongest and figuring out what's happening there. Like kind of just feeling, although that's goes against everything that we talk about, but just maybe observing what is happening in your body and with your voice, where your voice is the strongest, because that's the thing that you should focus on the most. Don't get caught up in like, oh, I want to sing this song at this key. If your voice doesn't fit that key, then you should sing it in a different key. And then mixing comes from trying to extend your range, not trying to make something happen. It also comes from practicing,
Yeah, totally.
I think, which is, I mean, it's all easier said than done. As you practice, you know, you're going to be pushing yourself. You're going to be trying things. Don't be afraid to sound bad, and don't be afraid to crack, because that's how you grow.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. In order to get better at singing, you have to be willing to be bad at singing. You know, a lot of people, at least in American culture, people tend to give people who are new or beginner singers a really hard time. You know, if you sing a little flatter, if you're not the best singer, people give you a hard time. But you know, they don't have the courage to do it themselves. So if you want to be good at something, you have to kind of be willing to be bad. And in a voice lesson or in a practice session, you got to be able to make some weird noises and be okay with that. I crack all the time. Even now, I'm learning what makes me crack. Things that make me crack are tightening up, and then all of a sudden trying to go loose. That makes me crack. If I don't have the right enough air support, that makes me crack. And I wouldn't know that if I hadn't let myself do it and learn from it in my practice session. So it's really important to be willing to make weird noises when you're practicing voice or when you're in a voice lesson.
Well, and we had a voice lesson recently with a good friend of ours that you guys will see here soon.
Ooh, yeah.
And we came up with a phrase, be brave enough to sound better.
Be brave enough to
I
sound
loved
better.
that so much. It was really great because it encompassed a lot of our philosophy, which is it's about the process and it's not about the product. And that's singing. That's life too. The best genre for deep voice. That's mostly the questions. Oh, okay.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, I found them.
Oh, so there's screenshots on this one?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I have them if you want to talk about that.
Well, that was Mario's. Let's wait. Let's see if anybody else, because we just answered this. Show me my Vic's voice. What can I do?
That's what you just
That's
answered.
what I just did. TikTok singers. Yeah, we will definitely react to TikTok singers. It sounds like fun. There's so many good people. Thank you. Siege. Genre for deep voice. What is the best genre for deep voice? I feel like, for me, that's a hard question because we don't know what kind of singing you like and your voice type and stuff. You know, the first thing I think of,
I have an answer.
You do?
Go for it, yeah.
Oh,
well, I want to hear what you have to say because I bet it's the same.
All I was saying was change the key.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I was saying that you can, yes, sing along with people, but what you should really do is you should, you know, either search on, you know, kind of learn what keys fit your voice well, and then you can search for your favorite song, karaoke, in this key on YouTube, and that usually pops up. And if not, that's a great opportunity to learn an instrument and accompany yourself. There's so many wonderful low voices that are just great.
Well, and I think so, Michelle. I'm going to assume that you're a female, and if you have a female voice, you have a deep female voice, or you feel like you have a deep female voice. My answer would be a little bit different for males, and I'm not sure why I feel that way, but I would say that as women, we have a hard time because a lot of pop and contemporary music is like in most people's passaggio. And that's like where we want to hear it. I've talked about this when we listen to Demi Lovato. Like Demi Lovato has this like really piercing quality. So everything she sings sounds difficult, and that's part of why we love it because it's so emotive and it's like effortful, which is not a word, but it's effortful.
It's full of effort.
It's full of effort. And so I think that's why we feel like, oh, if I don't have a high voice, like, blah. But that's not true. Listen to Fauzia. And yes, she has a high voice, but oh my gosh, that deep voice. So I would say, more importantly, it's what you're singing with, like the accompaniment. Because what I was going to say for men is that I think like jazz and classical ballads are really, really great for deep voices because they're usually very simple. A deep voice kind of gets lost if there's too much accompaniment going on. high voices kind of float and
Yeah.
they shine. Or
They're
like
easy to hear.
exactly. Look at Nightwish and Floor's her name, right? You know, she sings high above these chung 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 chung. If she sang super low, it would be probably uninteresting.
Well, it's a frequency thing,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. If we don't sit in the if we all sit in the same frequency register, it's tough to hear.
To hear. So I would say if you're a female, think about what the accompaniment is, and it doesn't necessarily have to do the genre. And that's same for men too. But specifically in my mind, I feel like lovely deep males' voices go well with jazz and classic stuff.
So Marios, I really do want to get to what you sent us.
Yes.
That is super interesting, but I also want to get to a couple more of these questions.
Some of these are quick answers.
And then we're gonna answer it. Jamie Thomas says, "Hope you are well." Thank you. We are, except for Malia, who might be sick.
Who might be sick, but that's okay.
What would you say to someone who continually sings through their nose? So
we have a video.
We have a video on this. But also, I would say to you that it's okay.
I say to you.
I say unto you that it's okay, and don't be afraid of the nose. You know, I understand there's definitely a point where it's too much, but you need that resonance, and so don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. You just have a balance issue.
Absolutely.
So I would say one of my favorite exercises is going and I hum straight through my nose, and then I go that's in my nose, and I'm singing in my nose, and I go all the way through my mouth as much as I can. Try to experiment with that feeling. Also, I'm a person who kind of has a nasally speaking voice.
Right.
And so maybe you just kind of have a little bit of a nasally voice.
Which is not a bad thing.
Which is not a bad thing. So, who else has a nasally voice? Ariana Grande. Okay. Who else has a nasally voice?
Brendan Urie?
Brendan Urie. A couple of the BTS guys have beautifully.
I would say Morissette.
Morissette.
Yeah.
Beautifully nasally voices. Nasal is not a bad thing. It is a clarity thing and a presence thing. So it's also extremely necessary. So I would say keep working on it. If you missed the earlier part of our stream, we believe that you should sing like you talk. Singing and speaking are the same thing. You just add more air. It's just a little bit more coordination. So try to sing, talk, and add more air to it, and sing like you talk.
Awesome. Okay, sorry. Do you want to read this while I answer the next question and get an idea?
Sure.
Or do you want me to do this?
Yeah.
Sorry. Actually, no. You're gonna need to talk about this. Difference between falsetto and head voice and chase.
Oh gosh. Okay, so falsetto is to say false folds, which are just the very edges of your vocal folds. The very tips of your vocal folds vibrating, because it's just a little bit of skin, they can move faster, and that's why you can sing higher. Head voice is more of a resonance thing, where
go for it.
Head voice is a resonance thing where you kind of use those false folds, but it's kind of airier and all that kind of stuff. I personally use those two words interchangeably, because ultimately it doesn't matter. You saying, this is a higher place, this is a lower place, how you do that, the literal physiology of how you're doing that isn't actually going to help you sing better or worse. Me telling you, you're really just barely touching the tips using your thyroid retinoids to bring your the tips of your vocal folds together. If I told you that in the lesson, you'd be like, okay, how do I sing it though?
So I think that it's just a very minute difference. And the reason why so many people get caught up in it is because I think it makes people feel like there's a clarity. Like, if I know I'm singing my falsetto, I know how to do that. Or if I know I'm going to be there using my head voice, I know how to do that. But what we believe is that you sing, right? And you approach a note or you approach a piece. And then after you can say, okay, well, that ended up being my falsetto or that ended up being my head voice, rather than like
putting
it there.
first.
And that's a confusing thing because we talk about like putting it through your nose and putting it through here, and we're not really talking about like
Forcible.
Yeah, we're really just talking about energy, right? So the energy that you're doing is you're sending it through your nose, you're sending it from behind your teeth, you're singing through your mask. That's not falsetto. If it happens to come through your falsetto because it's higher in your register and it's only the edges of your folds.
Because your body knows what it's doing.
Yeah. So it's more of a product, not a placement. Yeah, if that makes any sense. And for women, like, it really doesn't matter. Because we don't really care. To me, I really don't care about the word falsetto at all.
Well, and this is when I say chest voice or head voice, it's a describing word.
Exactly.
I'm literally not trying, if I said that in a lesson, it would be in order to describe something that I'm hearing.
It's a describing word, yes.
I don't want you to start, okay, I need you to sing my chest voice. That's not something that's natural to your body's instincts. It's like saying, okay, I need to flex my bicep in order to bring my arm up in order to give my friend a high five. Like,
right.
No, you just do it because you kind of already know how to do it, right? You might be a little sloppy, you might miss, look the elbows. But practice and you'll get much, much better at it. Okay.
Totally.
Okay. So I actually had one of my students ask me this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What's the difference between falsetto and high voice we did? Fix asks, I was just wondering how you guys do vibrato. This is a question I get a lot as a voice teacher. Fix, I don't know how old you are, but vibrato is a natural occurrence. If you give your voice enough air and you're loose, it should happen naturally. Now, when I was a kid, I'm sure you did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would make it myself. I would like play with my air, something to go, to try to give myself some vibrato because I thought I needed to. And that can actually end up hurting you in the long run. Whenever you hear really, really young kids with vibrato, it's usually because they're doing something funny and making it happen instead of allowing it to happen naturally.
Not supernatural to happen at a certain age, like at a younger age.
Age.
It's something that will come. So I would say how you do it is by allowing your voice to be itself. Like I wouldn't do anything to try. I know there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, do this. And you can do something to sort of like discover your vibrato. I would say that's perfectly healthy. If you do some warm-ups that help you kind of understand, do you have a really like tight vibrato? Do you like Judy Garland? Do you have a wider vibrato? Do you have something that, stuff like that?
Yeah.
But I would say that it's not something that you should worry about, especially if you're younger.
Yeah.
And the thing that you can do is really just focus on having good breath support and airflow and not trying to stop anything that's happening or create something.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Do you want to read that?
Okay.
It's a lot of technical terms, Marios, and that is not for me. And you knew that, okay? You knew that Chase was the technical pro. So I'm going to answer a question while you read this. Is that okay? Yes. I also found his original comment, if you want to just talk about that, remember?
Okay.
Which was a lot of cool stuff that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that. We will talk about this, because this is great stuff.
Maybe we'll make a video on it.
We already said that, remember? Okay, so falsetto, how to do vibrato. Okay, what can people do to have long breathing while singing? So like having good air support and things with breathing. We've made a few videos about this, but I would say number one is learning how to have a singer's breath. We talk about this all the time, but a singer's breath is diaphragmatic breathing. You take a deep breath from your stomach. Well, you obviously don't breathe from your stomach, you breathe from your lungs, but you allow your lungs to fill and then you use that air efficiently and you use it by pushing energy on. You use it by using energy all the way through the end of the phrase. So how do you do it? Learn about a singer's breath, which we've made a video of, and I will link it in the description after this video is done. Or I'll do it right now. You know what? I'll just do it right this second.
What are you doing?
I'm linking our video about a singer's breath.
Okay.
Will you answer quickly?
Yes. I'm sorry. I can't read this. It's too much going on. I have attention deficit disorder where I cannot even handle trying to read and
we will do our research, Marios, and we will get back to you.
Yeah, and I
we'll
honestly,
probably
we'll make a video on this because it's something that
we need some layman's
really
terms.
I love to break that kind of stuff down for people because I had a voice teacher who was a fine voice teacher. He was a great guy, but he would tell me that my vocal folds were not abducting properly, which means they weren't coming together fully, and that's how he would diagnose my issue. And I'd say, great, how do I fix it? He's like, well, you need to abduct fully, and that is just to me it was unhelpful because it was it's like telling me to grow my hair faster or anyway, blink differently. It's not. It didn't feel like something I had control of.
Right.
But once we started using, what was it earlier? Imagery and different things like that.
Yes,
metaphors,
absolutely.
where we say, okay, your breath is a train, and the train is moving through a tunnel. It never stops. Don't get in front of the train and don't miss the train. You got to go with the train. Stuff like that really helped me sing better, which was ultimately my whole goal. So, while knowing all the anatomy and physiology of the voice is helpful, it can also get in the way at times.
Okay, so great question. Sorry, go up here.
Difference between a riff and a run.
Riff and a run, yeah.
Riff and a run. I literally had this question on Tuesday.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. A riff and a run, I believe, are pretty much the same thing. The only thing I would say, you might disagree.
Okay.
A riff, I would say, is more of a repeating pattern.
Ooh,
and
that's a
run
really good answer.
Is from one point to another. So, dee dee, baby, dee dee. That could be a riff.
Right.
Dee dee. That little section, because I keep doing it, and it's dee 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 dee. If I kept doing it, that would be a little riff.
A riff.
A run would be something.
It's like a singular thing.
And it goes from one point to another point.
Yeah.
And you can do it from low to high, or start on one point, end on another point. But it's not a repetitive thing. It's a transitional thing. So that's what I think.
I think that's a great answer.
But honestly, you can use them as the same.
I was going to say there is no difference, but that's a way better answer.
Well, that's honestly what I think.
Yes.
Is that there really is no difference, and they're the same word.
But no, that makes sense because it's true.
But if you really want to dig into it, that's actually could be it. I don't know. I made that up.
I like that. What is harder, singing or rapping? I mean, it depends on your definition of harder. Like, to me, rapping is much harder because I don't do it. What do you think?
According to what we said at the beginning of the stream, they're the same.
They're the same. I know. But that's what I'm saying.
Speaking and singing are the same.
But public speaking is harder for me. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I'd be nervous. What is your definition of harder?
I think they mean physiologically, not.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah.
I mean.
Okay, that really oversimplifies singing, though, because and it oversimplifies rapping, because rapping is its own art form that I know.
Percussive, and it's you gotta have it's really percussive.
Okay, there was another.
So many great questions. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you.
How drastic? This is Jamari. Hey, Jamari. How drastic do you think working out helps for singing?
We have multiple people tell us stories about how they would run on the treadmill while trying to sing. A lot of musical theater people do that because they have to do crazy dances. I'm sure BTS does that because they have to do all of these amazing dances and then show up to sing.
Yes.
So they got to be in really good shape, have really good breath support, have really good control of their breathing and stuff, because you can't sing when you're going, right? Mm-hmm. So working out is always going to help you out. I think.
I agree. So one of our favorite singers, she's an opera singer, and her name is Joyce DiDonato, and she studied from our voice teacher's voice teacher, and so we're like vocal cousins together. She even said that. Anyway, she said that. So the philosophy of singing is speaking, blah 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 blah, but it's all about using your body in its natural state to do what it's meant to do and what it always does. And she does, I think it's the Anderson technique. No, it's a whole health lifestyle, and it's about using your body to the fullest and in the way that it was designed. So she also believes that working out and taking care of your body, because that's what working out is as well, is super critical for your voice. And I would agree, because our voice is our instrument and our voice is our body. So our body is our instrument. So yes, it's good for lung support, breath support. It's good for health. It's good for all the things.
As singers, our body is absolutely our instrument.
And Fix, you're right. You're not young anymore, at least vocally. Neither are we. But it's a good thing because it means that your voice is like settling into what it's going to be.
You're at the same age, Fix.
Yep.
But yeah, so play with your voice. You know, give it more just you know. Relax. That was to Fix. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Talk about this.
I forgot to say hi. I'm no one's favorite.
I know. Hi. Yes.
Hi.
I've always wondered how to know if I found my own style or if I'm copying somebody.
Oh, that's. Who is this? This is
Helena. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Helena. Linda.
Listen here, Helena. That's the nail on the head right there. That's such a tough one because every time I think I've come up with something cool and new, it reminds me of something else, and then I start singing that something else that it reminded me of, and then I forget the thing that I was singing.
Yes.
So, you know, we live in a world where the internet makes almost everything that is being created in the world accessible at a moment's like search or glance, and so it's hard to have a new idea. But I don't think you should let that stop you. I think that something that you do is uniquely yourself, is uniquely you. And so part of creating is getting out of your head and allowing things to be good, bad, sound like something else. And so I would just say, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
So it's a really difficult thing to do, but try not listening to yourself. In like a way that gets in your head. Like you obviously have to listen because you have to know if you're in tune. But listen, what is that word? There's a word for it. I don't know.
Actively sing.
Yeah.
When you're trying to listen to yourself sing, you're an audience member. You're like you're now passively singing because you're actively listening. Actively sing.
Yes.
Don't worry about how you sound. Do the things that you're supposed to do. Like for me, it's my air and my vowel. I think about that kind of stuff, or I think about dynamics, or I think about expression and communication of the song. I don't think about, okay, oh wait, how am I? I'm not checking in. I'm not singing to myself.
Right. So.
Wonderful question. I loved it.
I went to a bad vocal coach for around 5 years, and my confidence went down. I don't know how to get it back. That's a really great question. And I get that, like, that was a difficult question to phrase.
Yeah.
But it's like a therapist. Like, it's like finding a good therapist. Sometimes you have to try it a few times. And you should find somebody that you feel confident in. So I'm not saying, oh, you should have fixed that back then. No, I mean, it's all what it is. And you probably gave it a try for a long time because you felt like it was something you could do. But sometimes you and that teacher aren't meant to be together. We in college, you're placed in a vocal studio. So a lot of times, unless you have a request or you know somebody, you don't choose your voice teacher, which isn't how it usually works in the world. But in college, they have to place people. So, and then you would do your best with that teacher. And yes, you can learn something from everyone, but it doesn't mean that they're speaking to you the way that you need to learn. And you can also outgrow your teacher, because our teacher, whom we absolutely love and adore, even to him, by the end of our time studying with him,
he was like,
look, I think it's time for you to go someone else. Yeah.
Because he can say something one way and somebody can say the same, concept another way that clicks, that makes us, that helps us figure it out. So he's just such a wonderful teacher. I think that's a really good thing to recognize. But, I guess for some confidence stuff, I would say that goes back to what we were talking to Helena about creating, is that you got to get out of your own head.
Yeah, you have to.
And I know this is the oversimplification of the century. Just saying, we'll stop.
Just stop.
Just stop being nervous. But practice it. And for me, what I've done with other students, because I try to help people with preparing for auditions and doing things that are scary and difficult. So I would ultimately say, you got to be nicer to yourself. So if you love singing, you should sing.
Yeah.
And if you if you like singing, if you have to sing with a certain song, or you're, what are your fears? Are you fears that nobody's going to like it? Well, too bad for them, because you like it and you like singing. Or are your fears that you're going to make a weird noise? Well, that's going to be okay too, because most people make weird noises when they sing. Some people make weird noises when they talk.
I make weird noises.
Did you hear me say, what was that word I totally blew earlier? Oh, I can't even remember. Anyway.
But yeah, hang in there, and I would try again. I think that
don't stop trying.
Absolutely. I understand like the trauma of having a bad coach or teacher and feeling like, oh, it's going to be that way again. And you know what? Be okay saying, okay, I'm going to try this person for 4 lessons, and if I don't feel like they're hearing me, or I just don't feel like we're vibing, then try another person. I know that's
for a new teacher.
They just said they don't know how to come back to their confidence, and so yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that makes sense. Planking while singing, Jamari, sounds like the worst thing in the world. So, congratulations. You are way more committed than we are.
You found the worst vocal exercise.
Also,
well, I started doing that, but then they kicked me out of my gym. So
that would be really funny
if
you went to the treadmill at the gym. Also, Jamari knows Joyce also watches her, and that's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody, stop what you're doing and go watch.
Stop what you're doing and go watch Joyce Dino's master classes. She just knows how to do it.
We met her in person. I was trying to find that picture of us. Maybe I'll post it later, but it was surreal.
The best. She
really is the best. Yes, I'm no one's favorite. His mustache is gone. Hallelujah. Is there a difference if you start training your voice at an older age? Around 20. That's a great question. That's when I took my first voice lessons. Well, no, it was not 20. I'm a liar. I'm so sorry. It was when I started college, and I started college at 17 or 18.
Yeah, and it depends on what you mean by training. Have you been singing, casually your whole life? Okay,
right.
Cool. As a voice teacher, I've worked with people who are I've worked with people as young as 8, and I currently work with somebody in their 50s, and the person in their 50s that I'm helping right now, he never really sang, and he struggles to match pitch, and he struggles with a lot of the things that people who grow up singing kind of take for granted. All he wants to do is be able to go camping, and he plays guitar very well, and he wants to be able to sing and play guitar. That's all he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he can absolutely do that now. So, it just depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
And how much you sang before. But, we didn't get any real formal training until we turned 18.
Right. And I would say for me, there's disadvantages to both sides of that. So there's people you see that study really early on, and I think they lose a little bit of the creative side of music sometimes. That's just that's my observation from people that I've known that have taken lessons from early on. It's almost too technical, and versus those of us that, just like you guys tell us Morissette does, and people in the Philippines do, who you just grew up singing karaoke or just the one with the radio or whatever, and you figure it out on yourself. So now the good part about that is you really get the emotive side of it, and I think you get to learn your voice if you really listen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're like me, you create bad habits too. So I would say there's both. I would definitely, if you have the ability to and opportunity to check in with a coach when you're younger, even just once a month or a few times a year, just to check in, that would be great to say, okay, try to avoid this bad habit because it'll be harder to undo later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, up until a certain age, up until your voice really settles and what it's going to be, you're just working on technique. You're just perfecting good breathing, use of air, energy, vowels, all of those things. This is something Joyce Dinonato says, while you're waiting for your voice to kind of come, which happens later in life than we think, you're just working on technique. That's why people don't go from college, from a bachelor's degree to the Met. People go then to young artist programs and doctorates and all that stuff.
A lot of people in their 20s.
Natalie Weiss is the best voice teacher ever, Marios. We all need to just stop what we're doing. I've already said this, and go watch Natalie Weiss.
Okay.
We'll talk about her in a second.
Joy,
I did. Yeah.
Nice. Just don't do
this one. Bernadette. Is there do's and don'ts for singers in terms of eating habits?
Oh.
We have different philosophies on this. So Go Chase.
But I like your philosophy because that means I can eat whatever I want, do whatever I
You know,
want.
there's the classics, like don't eat dairy before you sing, or don't drink
I
coffee
can't,
or
I
alcohol.
can't actually eat anything before I sing because I will burp.
Right.
Not because it affects my voice and you know, in any negative way, but
Yeah.
because I will have burping
Yeah.
issues, and that's really hard to do while
Right.
you're singing.
I will say, I believe there is a common misconception about dairy, and there's a common misconception about mucus, and that is that we need there's a normal and healthy amount of mucus that you need for your voice to work. So if you drink a bunch of water, like I've done this before, right before I sang, I chug a bunch of water and like I get nervous and I drink a lot of water, you've kind of washed away that mucus that you kind of need and is healthy. So I believe that you just need to figure out like what does well for your voice. For example, I could eat frozen yogurt before I went on to sing and it wouldn't do anything. Chase could not do that.
When I was in college, I was
You were horrified.
at one point. Well, I have struggled with vocal issues.
Oh, that's true.
This is why when I listen to people, I listen for vocal health stuff is because that's what I have struggled with.
Yeah.
I might have kind of figured that out. It might have been a medicine I was taking for my asthma, but even so, production and how I sing was also tiring me out. And so that's something I listen for whenever, that flavors how I listen to people sing. But what I was going to say was that I was doing everything I could to give my voice the best chance that I could. I was drinking tons of water. I was drinking tea. I was drinking, I was not drinking dairy, before, like close to a performance. And there's science behind that where you have inflammation and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, I think that like if something is not good for you, then it's not good for your singing.
Yeah.
Because it's your body and your body's, But don't overthink it.
Right.
Don't overdo it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like, is a piece of pizza going to kill you?
No.
Well, then it's probably also not going to hurt your voice too.
Right. Well, and people talk about like a lot of professionals, unless they're European, don't smoke. Yeah, I wouldn't smoke. Or don't drink alcohol while they're gigging. And it's for regular reasons. Like alcohol dehydrates you.
Yeah.
And so just like coffee, like we're doing right now. But I mean, all of these things are for kind of the ideal voice. Excuse me. So I would say definitely avoid the regulars while you're singing.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting ready to do, lots of performing in a row, don't drink alcohol. Or if you're getting ready if you have to wake up early to go sing, maybe avoid coffee. Maybe like see how does it affect your voice? Does it help you? Do you need that coffee to wake up? Well, you need to be awake to sing. So I would say just kind of balance that for yourself. We can do one more question.
Guys,
but
we
do
have
have
to
to
do one
go.
more question, but I don't know if you can hear, but our boy is awake.
Yes.
So we gotta go give him hugs.
We do. I would say last question is what makes Natalie Weiss such an effective voice teacher?
Okay, what makes Natalie Weiss? It could be. Well, did anyone not get a question answered?
Whoa, he just screamed at us. Why did you scream at us?
Because he sat up.
Oh, he did. He said, yes, we do have a baby. Oh, and we do have a kitty. He's over there. Okay.
We gotta go get him.
Yeah.
Okay, last question is, what makes Natalie Weiss such an effective voice teacher? She, I think, uses the student's voice that she has. She doesn't try to change people's voices.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I think she also teaches sing speaking and natural mixing philosophy. And I think that is really great because it is a healthy way to approach all different types of genres.
Yeah.
Last
thing I would say, she's a professional communicator.
Absolutely.
She's a very, very good she's very good at taking an idea and being able to give it to another person, which is such a skill. And that's the real sign of a really good teacher is that they break something down to the point where lots of people can understand it. Absolutely. I have to go get that point.
We're going to go get our child. I'm going to sign off.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for joining. And yeah, we'll be back next week. We will get the BTS one very soon. We will get that up and running. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. I don't know how to end this, Chase. He just abandoned me. Now I will sit here. Oh, Chase, will you end it while you're over there? Oh, what is everybody saying? Bye. Thank guys. Everything listened while I did work. Oh, I enjoyed listening while I work. Thank you so much. yeah, we will see you guys next time. Oh, yes. Just wait for the BTS. There's a little glimpse of the babe. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to awkwardly leave now so that I can go turn it off. Bye, guys.
Hey, Mama.
Huh.
Yes, boy.
And